So here I have my bird model. Um, it's about ready for me to sculpt. What I'm going to do is actually add one more level of subdivisions so I have, let's say, enough mesh resolution for the sculpting to really be able to deform in nice ways. I'm going to say smooth one more time, and I'm just going to go ahead and save this again. But before I start sculpting this model that I've made, to introduce the sculpting tools, I'm just going to create a new scene. Yes. And let me put my grid back up here for a second. I'm just going to make a basic cube. I would recommend you do this as well so you can get kind of comfortable understanding what all the tools do. Let me go to my attribute editor because, like I just said, subdivisions are important, the amount of subdivisions that you have to your mesh. So I'm going to actually give this a size of 10 by 10 by 10. I'm in my polycube node here, and subdivision widths in depth of 100. It's not 100 faces per side, or 100. Even it might even be 100 by 100. To know how many faces you have, we can go to display polygons and say we want to display, heads up display, excuse me, display heads up display. And let's display the poly count. Okay, so we have 60,000 faces on this model. So for sculpting, this is great. So let's get started using the sculpting shelf. I'm going to collapse my attribute editor, and I'm going to open up my tool settings here. And let's just go through some of these tools. Let's start with lift to surface. And now you see that we have, since we had our model selected, I'm also going to turn off my symmetry for this model. I have my brush. To increase or decrease the size using a hotkey, I'm going to press B and kind of pull this out. So lifting a surface, let's see what this does. I've also decreased the strength quite a bit. I think it starts at strength of, or let's say reset the tool, right, 15. So size 25 and strength 15. Too big of a brush and too strong. I might want to even, knowing that if these are the default settings for sculpting, my model might want to be a lot bigger. But what I'm going to do is press B, shrink this down, and decrease the strength by a factor of 10 as well. And now you can see that this is kind of pulling the surface away. I can also invert and push the surface in. Then we have smooth the surface. So you can see it taking effect here along these edges. Let's see. Smooth the surface without changing its original shape. So this allows you to, it's going to be hard to see, but you can see that the mesh is kind of being realigned without changing the deformation. So we are moving the vertices along the edges that are already present. Pull a single vertex in any direction. I think this is going to collect whatever vertices are. This pulls, so you can see it has a bit of a different feel than lift. I back up, right? This kind of pulls the mesh in whatever direction. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to have my vertices overlapping. So just be aware. Pinch. Is kind of pulling vertices all together. Level a surface. You can use this to kind of flatten as well. Softly lift a surface, a little bit different than lift. This is, I guess, doing it in a softer fashion. See what this tool does. Randomly spray a stamp imprint on a surface. So I wonder what the stamp imprint is. Here's our stamps. So this could be helpful. We can pick a stamp. What this is doing is it's taking this black and white image and it's using that, the black being the alpha channel, the white being where it will be lifted and the black is where it won't be. So let's see, what stamps do they have here? Here's a content browser for the stamps that you can use to give kind of an organic feel. Let's try this one maybe. Okay, and there's all sorts of the rotation, the scale, drawing method continuous. Okay. And here I can kind of pull and drop my stamp. So this is a really quick way to give some pretty in-depth texture. Okay, that's the stamp tool. Stamp a pattern on a surface repeatedly. I think we might still be using the stamp for this. Let's pick a different stamp to see what this looks like really. Maybe this bristle. Some kind of drawing on it. I mean, this is getting kind of totally crazy. I might want to decrease this a bit. Now you can see, might be too enough, but here we go, maybe something like this. So kind of like stamp, but we're doing it kind of repeatedly over the surface. This is a single copy of a stamp, kind of like the settings that we had maybe played with some of these other tools. This is build up a surface. So I'm kind of building form. Removes a raised area on a surface. So some of these tools kind of do similar things. This one is kind of decreasing the surface, maintaining the texture. Fill the valleys on the surface. Kind of smoothing again, but the topology here is kind of maintaining whatever that texture was. We have cut fine strokes into a surface, which I might want a smaller knife for. Turn down the strength here. Okay. Pull the surface in the direction. Ooh, that's quite a strong pull. Inflate an area. Again, too strong. Size of our model. Accentuate surface detail. Use this brush here. See what that does, and paint areas of the surface to prevent further modification. So we might say, I don't want this to be played with anymore. So the rest of this can get smoothed, but it won't affect whatever's painted blue. Okay, those are our sculpting tools. So make a cube, increase its subdivisions, and mess around with some of these. Get comfortable with them. In the next video, we'll get back to that bird.